Here are 5 unsolved mysteries from history. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more, and let us know your theories in the comments. What do you think really happened? It was more than just a prison, it was a statement. Alcatraz, the rock, was designed not merely to hold criminals, but to hold the worst of them. Perched on a wind-battered island, isolated by frigid, unforgiving waters, Alcatraz stood as America's answer to the crime wave of the 1930s. No inmates ever officially escaped alive. No one was supposed to. Frank Morris, sharp-minded, cold, precise. He had an IQ reportedly above 130 and a reputation for slipping through security like smoke through cracks. Every prison that had tried to contain him failed until Alcatraz. Then came the Anglin brothers, John and Clarence. Raised poor in Georgia, they were close, dangerously close. Together they robbed banks with a quiet confidence. They never harmed anyone. They never gave up on each other. When fate and the justice system landed all three in adjoining cells, a quiet fire began to build behind those concrete walls. Each man had one thought: get out. Their plan wasn't born from impulse. It grew over months. Every detail counted. Every second was accounted for. It started in late 1961 when Frank Morris came across discarded saw blades in a utility corridor. That was the spark. The rest: genius, desperation, and time. Working late into the night, Morris and the Anglins spent months cutting through the rear air vents of their cells, an inch at a time. Using handmade tools, sharpened spoons, bent nails, and an improvised drill fashioned from a vacuum cleaner motor. Every motion was slow, deliberate, muffled. They hid their progress with cardboard, books, and even suitcases. Just behind the cell wall lay an unguarded maintenance corridor. Freedom was closer than anyone realized. Above the cell block was a hollow attic space, a dark, dust-choked void. They turned it into a workshop. There, by flashlight and stolen tools, they built their escape. A 6 by 14-foot raft stitched from over 50 raincoats, vulcanized seams, sealed with hot water pipes and pressure, homemade paddles from plywood and scrap metal, dummy heads, painted, plastered, topped with stolen barbershop hair. Every night they ran the same drill. One man worked, one watched. They fashioned a crude periscope from a mirror and cardboard to monitor the catwalks. The guards never knew. On a foggy Monday night, it all came together. At lights out, the men placed their dummy heads on their pillows. Morris gave the final nod. John and Clarence Anglin were ready. But Alan West, their fourth, wasn't. His vent was stuck. Time was up. He was left behind. The 3 escapees slipped through their vents into the shadowy corridor, then climbed to the roof of the prison. Guards stood just feet away, unaware of the silhouettes moving silently above them. They pried open the roof vent, held in place until that moment by a soap and paint bolt, and emerged into the cold night air. Below, the waves crashed against the rocks like thunder. Down the bakery chimney they went, over the outer fence, and across the dark yard to the shoreline. They inflated the raft using a concertina reed instrument, cleverly adapted into a makeshift air pump. Then they vanished into the black water, pushing off with homemade paddles. 3 ghosts on a rubber raft, heading into the unknown. At 7 a.m., the silence shattered. A guard poked a sleeping Morris, and his hand hit plaster. The dummy's head rolled to the floor. Panic spread like wildfire. The prison locked down. Helicopters soared. Boats crisscrossed the bay. The FBI took command. Every boat operator in the bay was questioned. Dive teams scoured the water. Within 48 hours, pieces of the puzzle began to surface. A homemade paddle floating near Angel Island. A life vest washed ashore on Cronkite Beach. A packet of sealed letters bound in rubber. But there were no bodies, no footprints, no stolen vehicles, no known accomplices.
It was brilliant, but risky. We can't prove they lived. We just can't prove they didn't. FBI.
Years passed, then decades. No confirmed sightings, no bodies, no arrests. Some said the men drowned, lost to the current, their bones resting beneath the bay. Others said they made it, that they crossed to Angel Island, then to Marin, that they changed their names, their faces, their lives. A letter surfaced in 2013, allegedly from John Anglin. We all made it. I'm 83 now. I have cancer. Please help me. But handwriting tests were inconclusive. The FBI dismissed it. The U.S. Marshal Service still lists them as fugitives. If alive today, they'd be in their 90s. Did they drown beneath the weight of their ambition? Or did three men once locked in the world's most secure prison achieve the impossible? They vanished into the fog, and the rock has kept its silence ever since. To this day, the escape from Alcatraz remains one of the greatest unsolved mysteries in American history. Thanks for watching. Check out this other video here on the channel. The Lost Colony of Roanoke, America's oldest unsolved mystery. Long before the Pilgrims set foot at Plymouth, before Jamestown took root in Virginia, England attempted its very first foothold in the New World, and it vanished without a trace. This is the story of the Lost Colony of Roanoke, an enduring mystery that has haunted America for over 400 years. It all began in 1587 when a group of around 115 English settlers arrived on Roanoke Island off the coast of what is now North Carolina. They were led by John White, an experienced artist and navigator who had been part of previous expeditions to the New World. This colony was not the first attempt. 2 years earlier, a failed settlement had been abandoned due to hostile encounters and harsh conditions. But this time, they hoped things would be different. Among the settlers was John White's own family, his daughter Eleanor, her husband Ananias Dare, and their newborn baby girl, Virginia Dare, the first English child born on American soil. She would become a symbol of hope and later of sorrow. But Roanoke was far from a paradise. The colonists quickly found themselves struggling, short on food, unfamiliar with the land, and dependent on uneasy relationships with local Native American tribes. White and the colony's leaders made a difficult decision. Someone needed to return to England for help. That someone would be John White. He set sail, promising to come back swiftly with supplies and reinforcements. But as he reached England, fate intervened. 1588. England was under threat from the Spanish Armada, and Queen Elizabeth I ordered all ships to defend the homeland. White was trapped in England. For 3 long years, he waited. Finally, in August 1590, John White returned to Roanoke. But what he found was not the colony he had left behind. It was deserted, completely and eerily silent. No bodies, no burned homes, no signs of a fight. Just emptiness. And one chilling clue, the word CROATOAN carved into a wooden post. Another carving, the letters CRO, was found etched into a nearby tree. No cross, no distress signal, just a single word, echoing into history. CROATOAN was the name of an island, modern-day Hatteras Island, home to a friendly native tribe. Did the settlers move there voluntarily, or were they taken? Was CROATOAN a clue or a red herring? John White wanted to search the island immediately, but a powerful storm and the captain's fear of shipwreck forced them to turn back. He never returned, and so the fate of the Roanoke settlers was sealed in silence. Over the centuries, countless theories have emerged. Some believe the settlers were absorbed into native tribes, such as the CROATOAN or the Lumbee. Stories of blue-eyed Native Americans in the region surfaced years later, raising questions about intermarriage and cultural blending. Others believe the settlers tried to sail back to England on their own, and were lost at sea. A more violent theory suggests they were slaughtered by hostile tribes or even attacked by Spanish forces moving north from Florida. And then there are more fringe ideas that the colonists perished from disease or that they faced internal conflict and turned on one another. In the 21st century, researchers began using DNA testing on families in the region, searching for genetic links to the lost colonists. Archaeologists have uncovered European artifacts on Hatteras Island and inland sites, raising new questions. Could they have started a new life, blending into native societies so seamlessly they were never found again? What we do know is this: the Roanoke Colony was a painful and mysterious failure, but it wasn't in vain. The lessons learned at Roanoke helped shape the success of Jamestown, founded just 17 years later, and just a short sail to the north. Roanoke was the spark that lit the fire, even if that spark was lost in the dark. What really happened to the lost colony? Did they survive? Were they taken? Or did history simply forget them? Drop your theories in the comments. And if you love stories of history's greatest mysteries, subscribe for more. It is one of the most haunting mysteries in maritime history. A perfectly seaworthy ship found abandoned in the middle of the Atlantic. No sign of struggle, no sign of life, just endless questions left behind. This is the story of the Mary Celeste. The Mary Celeste was a sturdy American merchant vessel, 103 feet long, weighing just over 280 tons. On November 5th, 1872, she set sail from New York Harbor, bound for Genoa, Italy, carrying a cargo of 1,701 barrels of industrial alcohol. Commanded by Captain Benjamin Briggs, a deeply religious and experienced seaman, the Mary Celeste also carried his wife Sarah and their young daughter. Along with them, a crew of 7 hand-picked sailors, all trusted, all capable. Nearly a month later, on December 5th, 1872, Captain David Morehouse of the British brigantine De Gracia sighted a vessel drifting erratically some 400 miles east of the Azores.
Something was terribly wrong.
The boarding party found the ship strangely intact. Her sails were partly torn, her rigging was slightly damaged, but she was still seaworthy. The cargo was largely untouched. Supplies for 6 months were still on board, yet not a soul remained. The ship's only lifeboat was missing, and the last log entry gave no hint of disaster. It merely recorded that they had sighted land near the Azores. The Mary Celeste was brought to Gibraltar, where a British Vice Admiralty court launched an investigation into the mystery. Attorney General Frederick Solly Flood led the inquiry, convinced that foul play must have been involved. But evidence was scarce. There were no signs of violence. The cargo, apart from 9 barrels found empty, was unspoiled. Theories of mutiny, piracy, or insurance fraud fell apart under scrutiny. One theory suggests that alcohol fumes leaking from the barrels caused an explosion risk. Captain Briggs, fearing the worst, may have ordered everyone into the lifeboat temporarily, only for a sudden squall to separate them permanently from the Mary Celeste. Others argue that a sudden waterspout, a violent oceanic tornado, may have struck the ship. A blast of water could have flooded the deck, leading Briggs to believe the ship was sinking. And then, of course, the supernatural explanations, tales of sea monsters, alien abductions, even curses, all fueled by the eerie silence the Mary Celeste left behind. After the inquiry, the Mary Celeste was eventually sold at a huge loss. She continued sailing under different owners, but was considered unlucky. In 1885, she was deliberately wrecked off the coast of Haiti as part of an insurance scam, ending her tragic voyage in ignominy. To this day, no conclusive evidence has ever explained what truly happened aboard the Mary Celeste. It remains an enduring enigma, a ghost ship adrift not only on the waves, but forever in the imagination of the world. The sea is a keeper of secrets, and among its countless mysteries, few are as haunting as the fate of the Mary Celeste, a ship built for commerce, swallowed by silence, a captain devoted to his family, vanished without a trace, a crew handpicked for loyalty and skill, dissolved into the mist of history. They left behind no cries for help, no wreckage, no bodies adrift, only a drifting hull, a captain's log frozen in time, and 1,000 unanswerable questions. What forces compelled them to abandon a sound vessel in the open ocean? Was it fear, madness, violence, something far stranger, beyond the reach of mortal understanding? In the end, we are left not with answers, but with echoes. A half-eaten meal, a toppled teacup, a lifeboat missing in a sea without witnesses. The Mary Celeste sails still, not across oceans, but across the imagination. A phantom vessel adrift in the endless currents of human curiosity. And as long as there are mariners who venture into the unknown, as long as the horizon still calls us toward mystery and wonder, the ghost of the Mary Celeste will never truly rest. Thanks for watching. Check out this other video here on the channel. Imagine a book no one can read, a language no one recognizes, drawings of plants that don't exist, and stars that align with no sky we've ever seen. For over 600 years, it has whispered from the shadows of history, guarded by time, protected by secrecy, and perhaps by design. It lies in silence, bound in calfskin, filled with the ink of an unknown hand. For over 600 years, it has resisted every codebreaker, linguist, and historian. No one knows who wrote it, no one knows why, and perhaps we were never meant to. When rare book dealer Wilfred Voynich opened an old chest of forgotten manuscripts, he didn't know he had found the most mysterious book in the world. It was a 240-page manuscript, illustrated with strange plants that don't exist, naked women bathing in green pools, astronomical diagrams that defy logic, and a script written in no known language. He would spend the rest of his life trying to decode its secrets. He never succeeded. Across time, it has challenged the greatest minds. From Alan Turing's successors to artificial intelligence, the Voynich Manuscript remains untouched, its code unbroken. Some suggest it's a ciphered scientific treatise, others a lost work of alchemy, perhaps even a map of the stars as seen from another world.
The script doesn't match anything. Not Latin, not Hebrew, not any known cipher system. It's like a shadow language. Something just outside the edge of comprehension.
Even the structure is paradoxical. The words follow statistical patterns of natural language, but no one has ever read a single word. Some say it's a hoax, an elaborate 15th century prank, but the ink tests, vellum dating, and sophisticated linguistic features argue otherwise. What hoaxer would construct an entire grammatical system for a joke? And why does no one claim authorship? Other theories are darker: a lost civilization, a forgotten alien contact, or worse, a forbidden book written in a language not meant for humans to read. Some claim it's a pharmacopoeia of otherworldly plants, recipes for elixirs or poisons. They say the book changes you, that those who obsess over it begin to hear patterns in dreams. Some say the manuscript isn't meant to be read, it's meant to be heard. What if decoding the manuscript isn't just a scholarly pursuit, but a key to something vast, ancient, perhaps buried for a reason, a knowledge that could shatter the boundaries of science or unravel our reality?
If the manuscript truly contains advanced botanical, astronomical, and medical knowledge, unlocking it could change the world overnight. But what if that knowledge comes at a price?
What would happen if we finally read it? Would we find a cure for every disease, a gateway to the stars, or would we wake something that has been waiting for us to understand? Historians have traced the Voynich Manuscript to Central Europe in the early 15th century, but even here the trail goes cold. A single letter found among Jesuit papers hints that the manuscript passed through the hands of Emperor Rudolph II, an eccentric ruler obsessed with alchemy and the occult. He reportedly paid 600 gold ducats for it, believing it was the work of Roger Bacon, the medieval English philosopher rumored to possess forbidden knowledge. But was it really Bacon's? Or was that claim a lure, a decoy to hide the truth? Some believe the manuscript was passed secretly between secret societies, encrypted to protect knowledge too dangerous for the uninitiated.
The symbols in the margins, the looping serpent-like vines, the strange bathing rituals, they all hint at esoteric traditions long lost. This isn't just language, it's ritual.
High-resolution scans reveal inconsistencies, inks laid down in nonlinear sequences, pages reordered. Some diagrams appear to map celestial alignments that haven't occurred in known astronomy. A linguistic model at MIT suggested the language may be self-referencing, like a living code that adapts the more you try to read it. Some even speculate the manuscript is an artifact of cognitive evolution, a message from a future intelligence encoded in a way our current minds can't yet grasp. In the last decade, a fringe but growing theory has emerged, one that ties the manuscript to prophetic traditions around the globe. From Hopi visions of star beings to Sumerian tablets warning of forbidden knowledge, a pattern emerges. Certain symbols in the manuscript appear in places thousands of years and miles apart.
What if this book doesn't just hold forgotten knowledge, but future events? What if it's a chronicle of what's to come?
One decrypted sequence, barely translated, mentions cycles of collapse, green water descending, and voices under the roots. Are these metaphors or warnings? A chilling pattern has emerged. Several researchers who spent years immersed in the manuscript study have suffered psychological breakdowns. Others died in strange accidents. A coincidence or a curse?
It's said the manuscript is a lock, and your mind is the key. But not every key is meant to turn.
Some believe intelligence agencies have classified versions of the manuscript, that they know what it says, and they're terrified. It may be a joke, it may be gibberish, it may be a prophecy, a map, or a mirror into something we were never meant to see. Whatever it is, the Voynich manuscript remains sealed, not with locks, but with silence. The Voynich manuscript remains unread, untouched by time. Some call it a relic, others a warning. But one thing is certain, the most mysterious book in the world is not finished with us yet. Some books are written to be read, others are written to be remembered.
Jersey Devil, the Pine Barrens terror. Have you ever heard of the Jersey Devil? This terrifying creature has haunted the vast, untamed forests of the Pine Barrens for over 250 years, with a screech that pierces the night and glowing red eyes that lurk in the darkness. It is more than just a local legend. It's a fear woven into the very soil of New Jersey. Tonight, we journey deep into the wilderness, through myth and memory, to uncover the truth behind one of America's oldest and most chilling legends. The legend's roots. Our tale begins in 1735, in the heart of what would later be known as the Pine Barrens, a place both beautiful and foreboding, an expanse of over 1 million acres of sandy soil, twisted pines, and near impenetrable wilderness. It was here that Deborah Leeds, already the exhausted mother of 12 children, learned she was pregnant with her 13th. Overwhelmed by despair, legend says she cried out in frustration, "Let this one be a devil!" According to the tale, her wish was granted. The baby was born deformed, its body twisting, elongating. Bat wings erupted from its back. Hooves struck the floor. With a final scream, it flew up the chimney and vanished into the pines. But there's more than just legend at work. The Leeds family was real, descendants of Daniel Leeds, a controversial figure in colonial politics and publishing. His feud with the Quakers and his association with astrological symbols made him a target of superstition. Some believe the Jersey Devil story began as an early smear campaign, the Leeds Devil evolving over generations into a monster. The Jersey Devil's description. Descriptions of the creature have remained surprisingly consistent across centuries. Witnesses speak of a towering figure, about 6 feet tall, with leathery bat wings, a horse or goat-like head, long claws, and a forked tail. It moves with unnatural speed and emits a scream unlike any known animal, a sound said to curdle the blood of even seasoned hunters. Some describe it walking upright, others say it gallops, but nearly all agree on its aura of malevolence. It's not just what the Jersey Devil looks like, it's what it makes you feel. Dread. As if you're being watched by something beyond this world. Early accounts. Long before modern headlines, stories of a strange creature circulated among trappers, farmers, and Native American tribes. The Lenape spoke of an evil spirit in the woods, a dark force that could not be named. In the 1800s, settlers reported livestock mysteriously slaughtered, children vanishing, and hooves found atop rooftops in fresh snow, trails that led nowhere. The creature left behind more than tracks. It left fear in its wake. Rural communities in the Pine Barrens would lock their doors early. Some families even left the area entirely, claiming they could no longer endure the nightly screams. As the 19th century progressed, the Jersey Devil seemed to gain strength. A wave of reports flooded in from multiple counties. A blacksmith claimed it stole his tools. A lighthouse keeper described seeing it flying across the Delaware Bay. One chilling account came from a stagecoach driver, who said the beast landed atop his carriage, shaking it violently before vanishing into the sky. These tales weren't isolated. They created a media frenzy, especially in the 1890s. The Leeds Devil had become the Jersey Devil, its name now printed in bold across the region's newspapers. The 20th century phenomena. In January 1909, the legend reached a fever pitch. Over the course of 1 week, the Jersey Devil was reportedly seen by over 1,000 people in nearly every corner of South Jersey, and even as far as Philadelphia. Police fired shots, schools and factories shut down. The Philadelphia Zoo offered a $10,000 reward for the creature's capture. A circus tried to claim it had caught the beast, only to be exposed as a hoax. But the damage was done. The Jersey Devil had stepped into the national spotlight. The modern-day sightings. In the decades that followed, the creature never vanished. Campers spoke of eyes in the woods. Motorists slammed on their brakes as winged shadows crossed the road. Even into the 21st century, sightings persist, now amplified through social media. The Jersey Devil is no longer a tale whispered by firelight. It's a viral legend, with new generations contributing their experiences to an ever-growing mythology. Could there be a scientific explanation for these sightings? Experts point to swamp gas, nocturnal birds, and rare atmospheric conditions. Strange lights and sounds can be naturally occurring, but frightening nonetheless. In the vast isolation of the Pine Barrens, even the most rational minds can be tested. Shadows stretch longer. Sounds carry farther. Fear takes hold faster. Others suggest misidentification, a bear standing upright, a sandhill crane startled into flight, even escaped exotic pets. The human mind is quick to connect the unknown with the supernatural. A flash of wings, a set of glowing eyes, and suddenly, the devil walks among us again. Psychological factors. But perhaps the greatest contributor to the Jersey Devil's legacy is us, our imaginations, fears, and collective memories. Folklore has a way of binding communities together, and legends often thrive in places where truth is hard to pin down. Once a story takes root, it can live forever. All it takes is one scream in the night, one glimpse of something strange, and suddenly, the legend is reborn. Folklore and literature. From dime novels to blockbuster films, the Jersey Devil has stalked the pages and screens of American culture. It's been portrayed as everything from a misunderstood beast to a force of evil unleashed. To this day, its image appears on sports team logos, roadside signs, and children's Halloween costumes. It's both a nightmare and a mascot, a symbol of New Jersey's wild, ungovernable spirit. Tourism and economic benefits. Legends have power, not just over the imagination, but over the economy. The Jersey Devil draws thousands each year to the Pine Barrens. Guided tours, festivals, and gift shops thrive on its mystery. In a region once feared for its remoteness, the devil has become a dark ambassador, welcoming the curious and the brave. The Jersey Devil's enduring legacy. Why does the Jersey Devil endure? Maybe it's because it reminds us that not everything can be explained. Or because in a world where answers are always at our fingertips, we still yearn for mystery. Or maybe, just maybe, something really is out there. Watching, waiting. In the end, we're left with questions. Who, or what, was seen that night in 1909? Why do the sightings continue? Why do people from all walks of life, across generations, report the same chilling image? The Jersey Devil may never be caught, caged, or proven. But perhaps that's the point. It thrives in our uncertainty. It lives in the blurred line between history and folklore, between fear and belief. So we leave you with this. Is the Jersey Devil just a myth or a warning? The truth is out there, but so is the devil. And maybe, just maybe, they are one and the same.